The Dream Season Football League Series 6 is the series to determine the greatest dynasty in NFL history. And the finish to the regular season is crazy. Here's a look at the NFC North. And basically, you've got to keep on winning to have a chance to clinch this division. And there may be only one wild card that comes out of this incredible division, the NFC North. The 1970s Minnesota Vikings Hall of Fame quarterback Fran Tarkenton throws 2 touchdown passes in the ball game to Bob Grimm and only 2 incompletions. Breeze was picked off twice, and the Vikings crushed the Saints. Minnesota's won 4 of their last 5 games to now put themselves in a position with a win next week to clinch the playoffs. What a performance for Minnesota on the road, 35-3 over the Saints. So we just saw the Vikings enter that final wild card spot with a win against New Orleans. The team right above them is the 49ers. In order to keep that coveted wild card position, they have to win, otherwise they'll fall out of the wild card spot in the NFC. Luckily for them, they have a pretty easy draw as the 4-win Cardinals play host to San Francisco today. But Arizona's off to a strong 10-0 start, but Jerry Rice finds the end zone. He finishes the day with 8 receptions for 151 yards and that touchdown, which puts him at 3rd on the DSFL 6 receiving chart, just behind Tyreek Hill of the Chiefs and Lance Alworth of the Chargers. The 49ers dominate the final 3 quarters of the ballgame, and the defense makes a 4th down stop of Carson Palmer, and now the 49ers are just 1 win away from the playoffs with their victory in Glendale. None of these teams are going to make the playoffs, 10's Panthers and the 80's Redskins, but Carolina wins the game. Newton throws just his 9th touchdown of the entire season. This to Jonathan Stewart. Carolina wins the ball game in Landover, Maryland, 17-9. Peyton Manning has been one of the best quarterbacks in the entire league this season. Look at his incredible numbers, but today he battles the steel curtain, and Pittsburgh has a chance to clinch the entire conference. They would do so with only a win in today's game. Edwards with a pick 6 sparks an incredible first quarter performance where they shut down the Colts. 3 Vinatieri field goals. It's 13-9. A big run from Preston Pearson in place of the injured Franco Harris. And then Lynn Swann, what a catch, gains 25 for Pittsburgh. An incredible grab as he drags the back toe. And then 3 plays later, Bradshaw finds the tight end. Late in the 3rd quarter, that's Benny Cunningham for a touchdown. Edgerrin James with 1,294 yards rushing is just behind Emmitt Smith for the rushing lead, and he is a dark horse for the MVP award. Edgerrin James is in the end zone. It's a 3-point game. And then Bradshaw and company is denied by Robert Mathis. Colts into Steeler territory. Joseph Adai picks up 25 yards, but the Colts could not punch it into the end zone as James is knocked out of bounds by Blunt at the 1. So the Colts tie the game with the 4th field goal from Vinatieri. Then Bradshaw on the offense goes 3 and out again. That Colts defense was spectacular in the second half. And then Peyton Manning was spectacular in the 4th quarter specifically. Here's Joseph Adai with a huge run. And then Vinatieri makes his 5th field goal of the game to walk it off. Huge comeback for Indianapolis. Vinatieri, 22 for 22 on field goals this season. He's been incredible. And the Colts have leapfrogged the Steelers now as the 2 seed. Steelers drop to the 3 spot. Unlike the Steelers, the Chiefs need to win to just make the playoffs. Alex Smith will take over for the injured Patrick Mahomes. Chad Henne is the backup as Kansas City battles the lowly Falcons defense, and Smith would carve them up. He hadn't played all year, but you wouldn't know it today against Atlanta, as Smith tosses 3 touchdown passes deep to the league leader in receiving Tyreek Hill, then to Marcus Robinson to ice the football game. Kansas City, with an important win against Atlanta, is now the 7th seed, courtesy of an incredible day out of quarterback Alex Smith. As for the 1950s Detroit Lions, at 9-6, they do beat the Bucs and have a pretty good record, but they've got to win with some help, as the Lions are currently the 8th seed in the very tight NFC wildcard race. Let's move back over to the AFC. We saw the Chiefs with Alex Smith beat the Falcons, so they are now the new 7 seed of the AFC. Just in front of them at the 6th spot is the Denver Broncos, who still have a chance to win the division. 8-6 Denver has an easy matchup today in Los Angeles against the 1960s San Diego Chargers. Good start to the game. Opening drive is capped off by a John Elway touchdown pass. And then the Chargers come all the way back, but Hadel throws an interception, this to Steve Atwater. And then to ice the game, Hadel not only is picked off by Ray Crockett, he'll bring it back 85 yards for a Denver touchdown. So the Broncos take care of business. John Hadel is frustrated, but he is the first player in the league to throw for over 4,000 yards this season, but he also has thrown 18 interceptions. 4 turnovers for the Chargers in this one against Denver. So now after that Denver win, Oakland has to win today against Miami to keep first place by a hair in the tight AFC West. Strong start for the Dolphins, a touchdown, a field goal, and a safety. Miami leads the ballgame 12-0. Tatum forces a fumble, brings it back for a touchdown. That puts the Raiders on the board. And then Jack Tatum, the excellent safety out of Ohio State, forces another fumble. Phil Villapiano recovers, and the Raiders from their own 13-yard line of the fourth quarter, led by a 35-yard toe-tapping grab from Siani, they will take the lead. It's the ghost over the middle. Oakland is in front 20-19. After a remarkable comeback, the Dolphins couldn't respond. 4th down, it's incomplete. The Raiders come all the way back down 12-0 at home to win the ball game against the 70s Dolphins. The Raiders are still first place in the AFC West. Let's take a look at that division. Raiders and Broncos tied for the top spot. The Chiefs are currently the 7th spot in the wild card position. Hall of Fame quarterback out of Northwestern, Otto Graham. 21 touchdowns, the 9 interceptions on the season, but he would have a mistake-filled football game today, throwing a pick 6 and then fumbling away a return touchdown for the Jets. Well, Cleveland's this team has been dominant on offense. They have the most yards in the DSFL 6 by a mile, but the Browns will not make the postseason at 7-8 as they are stunned on the road against the 60s New York Jets. The 2010s Baltimore Ravens have been an incredible comeback story in the AFC. The Ravens, with their victory today against the 1980s New York Giants, have won 4 straight games and now at 8-7. They have to win next week against the worst team in the league, the Cincinnati Bengals, and also have a loss to either the Chiefs or the Broncos to make the final AFC wildcard spots. It's been an incredible turnaround for this team. Ravens take care of business in Week 16 with a victory against the G-Men at home. Speaking of the worst team of the DSFL 6, the 80s Cincinnati Bengals, they hung in throughout the game in Houston, but the 60s Oilers win it with an incredible play from Bill Groman. 3 missed tackles on this play, and the Oilers win the ball game 16-14. But neither club here today will make the playoffs in a few weeks. The same story might just be said for these 2 teams as well, but the 40s Bears, with their victory at Jacksonville, at least have a chance. I mean, it's about as much chance as winning the lottery. I mean, their chances, it might as well be 0. They have to have about 6 different balls bounce their way, but the Bears at least give themselves a chance with their win on the road, 24-17. Great football game. Just an incredible football game here from CenturyLink Field. Marshawn Lynch is jazzed. It's the Seahawks and the Rams, a rematch of a game won by St. Louis in Week 10, a game in which the Rams came back down 14-0 to win that game in Los Angeles. Kevin Carter a scoop and score, and Warner finds Arlen Harris for a St. Louis touchdown. They're up 17-0. It should be noted the Seahawks coughed up that 14-0 lead back in Week 10. Luke Wilson and the Seahawks will cap a long drive with this Robert Turbin touchdown. At the half, St. Louis leads 17-7. Warner and the offense would march all the way to the goal line. 3rd and goal from the 2. Falk is stuffed. The Hall of Famer Marshall Falk has 12 touchdown runs this season, but he would not score a 13th as he's knocked down to the 6th. Turnover on downs. Seahawks on offense march all the way downfield. 94-yard drive, and Wilson on the read option finds the end zone. I don't know if it was 7 million minutes. That was the amount of time it said was the drive summary, but anyways, they go 94 yards on a lot of time. It's only a 6-point ball game now. And Seattle's on the move yet again as the tight ends would get involved early and often in the second half. Here's the screen pass. This to Robert Turbin. And the Seahawks will cap it off with another rushing touchdown from Russell Wilson. And Seattle has come all the way back down 17-0, and they have taken a 21-20 lead. Now the greatest show on turf, that incredible offense battles the incredible defense of the 10's Seattle Seahawks, Legion of Boom. And to close the game, Earl Thomas forces a fumble of the tight end Jeff Robinson, the product from Idaho, one of his first catches of the season. It's jarred loose by Thomas. What a play. And the Seahawks fittingly close it out with a first down run. And believe it or not, the 2010's Seahawks, after this incredible win, are now the number 1 seed in the entire conference, but they still haven't clinched the playoffs yet at 10-5. I can't tell you exactly why or how or what the tiebreakers are. All I can say is somehow the Seattle Seahawks haven't clinched the playoffs at 10-5, but Dallas, they will clinch the playoffs. Now, Pete Hill scores 2 touchdowns in the ballgame here today, but that Cowboys defense led by Darren Woodson plays well against struggling Philadelphia. With a win today, the Cowboys have clinched the NFC East, also at 10-5 this season. Emmitt Smith finds the end zone. That's touchdown number 10 for the Hall of Famer from Florida. Cowboys are the 2 seed. Philadelphia drops all the way down to the 9 seed with this critical loss in Dallas. The 1960s Green Bay Packers have won 8 of their last 11 football games, and now they only need one more win to clinch the playoffs. The 9-6 Packers visit the Chicago Bears next week. They win that ball game and will clinch the NFC North. Winners today against Tennessee. Final game of the day, it's a Monday night clash between AFC East foes, Buffalo and New England. The Patriots' Josh Gordon begins the scoring for New England, and there was a lot of scoring on Monday night for the Patriots. Stevan Ridley from distance. Reed late in the half reels in a 75-yard touchdown, but there was just too much scoring for Buffalo to overcome. Rob Gronkowski has a sensational day for the Patriots as New England scores a 40-burger led by the tight end from Arizona. The Patriots are playoff bound at 10-5, 43-14 against Buffalo today. Here's a look at all of the scores from Week 16 of the DSFL 6. The entire season and who makes the playoffs comes down to this slate of games, Week 17 in the league. The AFC West will come down to that week too. Raiders and Broncos are tied for the division lead. NFC North features the Detroit Lions, Green Bay Packers, and Minnesota Vikings all at 9-6. And in the NFC West, the Seahawks are basically in the playoffs. They're 10-5. Let's take a look at how the AFC will pan out. And with that, we are back for the final edition of the Charge Dude 95 Big Board. And as the case in both wildcard chases, if 5, 6, and 7 win next week, they clinch the playoffs no matter what. Meanwhile, the Ravens at 8, they need a win and either a Chiefs loss or a Broncos loss to make the playoffs. They cannot leapfrog Miami to make the wildcard race no matter what. Meanwhile, the other interesting note in the AFC, Denver wins the division with their win against the Oakland Raiders if they are to win against the Raiders next week. So that's for the AFC West title. The game is played in Denver, Colorado. Chiefs make the playoffs with a win at home against the 4-11 San Diego Chargers. Meanwhile, the NFC has a whole bunch of crazy scenarios for the final week of the regular season. 49ers at 5 clinch the entire division with a win against Seattle. Meanwhile, the Rams, of course, playoff bound with a victory against the lowly 4-11 10's Arizona Cardinals. 7 seed Minnesota, win or go home. Same thing with 8 seed Lions. And Minnesota visits Detroit. It's a win or go home, and both of those teams still could clinch the division. That's how crazy it is in the NFC North. Green Bay is currently the division leader. They battle the Bears in Chicago next week. Chicago still has a chance. Philadelphia also has a chance, but that's crazy. It's a very, very long shot. We'll see any of those make it. Final week of the DSFL 6 regular season is coming up. I am Charger Dude 95. We'll see you in 7 days for the regular season finale.